There's something about a Thursday. I mean, it's not quite the middle of the week. We don't get so excited. It's not a Friday where, hey, the weekend's almost here. It's another Thursday. And maybe you're just getting started. Coffee's brewing, you're getting dressed, you're waking up the kids. Maybe you're already in the truck, headed to work. Maybe you're sitting there for just another minute thinking, all right, here we go again. Because there's something about a new day. Some mornings, you're ready for it. And some mornings, you already know what's waiting on you. Yeah, the same responsibilities, the same situation, the same work you've been putting in, the same person you've been trying to love well. And maybe the frustrating part is things don't seem to really be changing much. So what do you do? I want to take you somewhere interesting this morning. We're going to go to Jericho. Now, I know you're probably already thinking about the part everybody remembers. The walls fall down. But that's not the part I want us to look at first. I want to look at what happened while the wall was still standing. You see, God had given specific instructions for Israel concerning Jericho. They were to march around the city once a day for 6 days. And listen to how Joshua 6:14 describes one of those days. On the second day, they again marched around the town once and returned to the camp. They followed this pattern for 6 days. That's the day. They marched around Jericho. They went back to camp. Imagine that for a second. Yeah. They did exactly what they were told to do. Walked all the way around the city. And when they got back to camp, the wall looked just like it did when they left. Yeah. So for us, the morning comes. And what do? Well, how about let's stay faithful too. You get up and you go again. The beautiful thing about Jericho is, yes, on the seventh day, it happened just like he said it would. The walls came down. And that's where I want to be careful with what we're talking about here, because Israel had a specific command and a specific promise from God concerning Jericho. So this isn't me telling you just keep going and eventually your wall is going to fall. Well, you know, there's something to be said about faithfulness on a Thursday morning. Not seeing the result yet doesn't automatically mean it's time to stop doing what's faithful. Maybe you've been praying and things haven't really felt different. You haven't seen a shift. You haven't seen the things change you want to see change. Maybe you're trying to rebuild trust and it's taken longer than you hoped. Maybe you're trying to make better decisions and you're frustrated because progress feels slow. Maybe you're loving somebody who isn't making it particularly easy to love them. Yeah. Maybe you've been doing really good work that nobody seems to notice. And now another day is sitting in front of you. You don't have to manufacture a result this morning. You don't have to pretend you're not tired. You don't even have to know what tomorrow looks like. What's faithful today? That's the question. What's faithful today? Start there. And maybe that's our little nudge as we get moving this morning. Keep showing up. We'll spend more time in Joshua 6 together today, talking about Jericho and see what else we can discover. But for now, good morning. I'm Stephen. This is the Lifeline Morning Show, and I'm so glad to be along for the ride. Yeah. Hello, my friend.
Good morning, Stephen. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Chris?
I'm good.
Wonderful.
I was just thinking about that thing you said about, you're trying to build trust up.
Yeah.
And so I was thinking about when my mom, when I first started getting straight, and I'm like, look, Mom, I've got 6 months clean.
Yeah.
She still didn't want to answer the phone. It's like, and then it's like, Mom, I've got a year clean. Well, you've had a year clean before. You know what I mean? She didn't say that.
Oh, wow.
But I'm looking at it and I'm realizing, you're looking for grace from her.
Yeah.
Because golly, I've got a year clean, Mom,
Right.
Well, that's really nothing compared to the 20 years I stabbed her in the back. You know what I'm saying?
I got you.
And so we have to learn to extend grace to those that we're expecting grace from.
Oh, I love that.
I learned that a long time ago with my mom, really, because I couldn't understand why she wasn't just jumping up and down in joy that I had 6 months clean. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
So it was frustrating. It really was. And so finally realized, I'm not giving her the grace that I'm expecting from her. And that was 3 years in. And it was about 5 years in before she started really accepting that there might be something to it.
Wow. So it took some time.
So,
that took a lot of faithfulness. That took a lot of sticking to it. That took a lot of understanding on your part, on waiting and extending that grace. That's huge.
Right. Well, I mean, it wasn't easy.
Yeah.
Especially from your mom, you know what I mean?
Right. I mean, they're supposed to be your safe place. They're the person who's supposed to believe in you more than anybody else. To feel that way, man, I can't imagine.
Right. Well, she did believe in me, but she wasn't showing it.
Okay.
Because she didn't want me to get complacent.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? Be like, oh, well, he thinks he's got this. Mom knew more than I ever thought she did about what I was going through.
Yeah.
Because if all of a sudden I think, oh, I've got this.
Yeah.
Then I ain't got it for sure. When you start saying you got it, you definitely ain't got it. So,
wow.
I just want to call and share that with you this morning.
Looking at it from her side too, I wonder how many days she kind of fought that back. She's like, I'm proud of him, but I don't want to let him know exactly how excited I am because I want him to keep going. Ooh.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
That had to have been tough too. So there was faithfulness on both sides there.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, she was constantly praying for me.
Yeah.
In the quiet.
Yeah.
So
I say that wall finally fell down. What do you think?
It did finally fall down.
Yeah.
And so we have a great which we had a fairly good relationship, but she just didn't trust me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She always assumed I was not doing what I was supposed to do. So, and she didn't like it. So.
I got you. Well, man, thank you for sharing. Do you mind if I use this on the radio? That'd be okay?
No, yeah, not at all.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much. I think you're going to help some people out this morning, man.
All right. Well, you have a blessed day.
All right. You too.
See ya.
See ya. Chris, man, thank you so much for being so open and honest and telling us your testimony because, hey, maybe there's somebody right now who's on that same struggle. They are clean for 6 months. They're clean for a year, 2 years. And they're still not getting that desired result. That trust is not there yet. Maybe it is with a parent. Maybe it's with another loved one. Maybe it's with a spouse. So, faithfulness goes a long way. Keep doing what you know to do. Keep taking the next right step, even if you don't see the outcome that you're desiring quite yet. Don't give up on it. Keep moving forward. Man, I love hearing from you. So, hey, if you want to reach out, you got a similar story, you want to talk with me about how faithfulness has worked in your life, I want to hear from you. Why don't you do what Chris did? Call me here at the studio, 256-505-0885. And let me know. Who knows, your story might be the breakthrough somebody needs to hear to keep moving forward. Again, that's studio number 256-505-0885. You can even text me if you'd like, 256-967-0885, or you can email Stephen@885jfm.com. I look forward to hearing from you because you know what? You are a part of this. This is not just some radio show with a guy in a studio talking to everybody. No, we are in this thing together. We are walking this life together. And so, hey, let's talk. All right? All right. Sometimes it's a hard fought. Hallelujah. Here's Brandon Lake with Jelly Roll and John Baptiste playing that piano you hear right now. Hi, here on the podcast, I'm sorry I can't play the music for you, but don't worry. I've devised a couple of ways for you to still enjoy the music. Look in today's description. You're going to find a Spotify playlist and a separate song list, all chock full of music featured on the show from today. And you know the reason why I'm pitching the music in the first place is because today's show is brought to you from a live radio show. So that being said, if you'd ever like to come hang out with me live, I'm on from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m., Monday through Friday, Central Time. And the way to hang out with me is on the station website, 885jfm.com. Click that On Now button and press play. And I'd love to hang out with you, okay? All right, let's get back to it. Have you ever practiced something and you were still bad at it? Yeah, that's frustrating. You practice the shot and you still miss. You work on the song and you still mess up that one part. It's so hard. You study harder for the test and the grade moves from a 72 to a 74. Woohoo! Look at me go! Yeah, that doesn't feel like much of a, change, does it? Yeah, it's okay. Or maybe you've been trying to change something about the way you treat people. You're trying not to lose your temper so quickly. Or maybe you're trying to be more patient at home. And then, yesterday, you messed up again. That's when it's really easy to think, what's the point? I'm not getting any better. This isn't working. Maybe I should just quit. But I want to show you something from today's word of life, okay? Israel is at Jericho. God has given them very specific instructions. For 7 days, they're supposed to march around the city once each day for 6 of them, right? And Joshua 6:14 tells us, on the second day, they again marched around the town once and returned to the camp. They followed this pattern for 6 days. So that shows you faithfulness, sticking to what you know to do. They marched, they went back to camp. You know what was still there? The wall. Yeah, it was still there for those 6 days. So, each day they got up the next day and they did what they were told to do. And on the 7th day, they marched around it 7 times, shouted, and the walls came tumbling down, just like he had said. That wall is coming down. Now, God made Israel a specific promise about Jericho. So I'm not telling you keep practicing and I promise you'll make the team. I can't promise you that. Study hard and I promise you'll get an A. Nope, I can't do that. Be kind and everybody will eventually like you. I definitely can't promise that because try as hard as you can. Not everybody's going to like you. But here's what I can tell you. Not seeing the result that you want doesn't make doing the right thing pointless. Sometimes growth is happening before you can see much evidence of it. And sometimes the outcome you wanted may not happen the way that you wanted it to at all. But doing what's faithful still matters. There's still value there. So here's your challenge today. Don't ask only, is this working? Also ask, is this right? Oh, that's a big difference because if being kind is right, it's still right when somebody isn't kind back. If telling the truth is right, it's still right when telling the truth costs you something. If practicing instead of quitting is the responsibility you've been given, you can practice today without knowing whether you'll eventually be the starter. And if you mess up while you're trying to grow, own it, learn from it, ask God for help, and show up again. Don't demand that one faithful Tuesday produces a completely different you by Thursday because growth takes time. So when you're tempted to ask the question, what's the point? Stop and ask, what's faithful right now? Then do that. One practice, one assignment, one conversation, one better choice. Keep showing up. And that's it.
This is Pastor Larry Walls with your Drive Time Devotion. In a book called Lessons from Mom, Joan A. Holt Ryan writes about loyalty in friendship. She says this, we went to one of the local shopping malls recently where Mom ran into 2 women who live in her development. They greeted her efficiently. It was a brief exchange during which she introduced me and they were then well on their way. What a phony baloney, my mom exclaimed excitedly when they were well ahead of us. Since her remark came from nowhere, I asked her what it was that she meant by that remark. She began to explain that she had sat under a canopy at her pool on several occasions with these 2 women and one of her friends, Sylvia. One day, she said they sat nearby and heard the 3 of them talking about the wedding reception of Sylvia's daughter the week before. They raved about the food, the flowers, the elegant country club location, and the beautiful bride. Mom said that Sylvia was obviously beaming with pride. She said that when Sylvia left, you should have heard them, Mom said. I couldn't believe friends could be that two-faced. They ripped her apart talking about how cheap she was, her homely son-in-law, the music they couldn't even dance to, and that it was all just so awful, and they called themselves friends? Who needs friends like that? Ephesians 4:29 says, let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth, but that which is good to the use of edifying, that it may minister grace unto the hearers. Speaking well of others is not only a good way to acquire friends, but it's also a good way to keep them. Pray with me. Lord, help us to control our tongues and our mouths, especially when we're speaking about others. For it's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
It's just one of those things you do. You just go to the mailbox. I mean, there's nothing really big about it. Sounds a little something like this. You know, it might be a little squeaky. Yeah, but I mean, you go there like every day. And I know sometimes you get junk mail. How about that credit card offer? Oh, the Disney card. You could save points. It's like, no, it's straight to the trash. I don't know if you're that way too, but for me, it's just a few steps from my mailbox to my trash can. Yeah, but every now and then, you go out there and you notice what's waiting for you. Let me introduce you to Bob, because here's what
it was the only mail I got that day.
The only mail he got that day, and you're going to love this story because, you see, this little piece of mail had been 26 years in the making. Sure enough. So what did he think when he saw this postcard?
I started looking at it and go, oh my gosh, this is a treasure.
Yeah, it was a treasure, but why was it a treasure? I mean, besides, it was just a postcard. It was from Copenhagen, though, and it just had a simple message on it, really.
Flying in, we saw lots of water and green land everywhere. Love, M&D, from Mom and Dad.
From Mom and Dad. What you don't know about Bob is his mom and dad are no longer with us. Yeah. Now, let me tell you a little something about his family, because his dad, a military man, a veteran, he's John. Well, he died 6 years ago during the COVID-19 pandemic. And his mom, Joanne, well, she was a teacher and a social butterfly and a world traveler. She passed away 4 years ago. But, you know, there was something about the way his dad passed away that it never set well with him, because it was during the pandemic and all of the restrictions at the hospital. He wasn't able to give a proper goodbye, to go and say bye to his dad. And that has haunted him ever since. But getting this letter in the mail, that changed things a little bit, because, well, he feels like maybe this is a postcard from heaven. Now, if you look at it, it's got a postmark from Copenhagen in 2000. And the postmark in Los Angeles, California, he lives in Long Beach, is August 2026. A 26-year gap. Now, what exactly happened? Not exactly sure. The mailman has an idea. Here's Bob.
And he believes that probably what happened to this postcard is it somehow fell out of a bin or a basket or a shelf or something like that, and maybe it went underneath a desk or a file cabinet or something like that, and they must have just found it recently and said, hey, the guy still lives at the same address. Let's go ahead and send it to him. This was, to me, almost a postcard from heaven.
Yeah, I love that. God knows what gets us. He knows what arrests our attention, and he knows what we deal with. And so some people might look at this as, oh, you know what? Well, that was just a coincidence. No, I think not. I don't think that was a coincidence at all, because 26 years, I mean, come on. And to get it in the mail and to get this kind of response out of Bob is just what he needed. So, I don't know. Has God done that for you as well? Has he just shown up and shown out for you? Maybe he showed you something that only you would appreciate. Yeah, I've noticed it too. He's done that for me, and I absolutely love it. That's one of the beautiful reminders that we have, that we are never alone. He is with us every step of the way. Yeah. Hey, if you have a story like that, I want to hear about it. And today we're talking a lot about faithfulness. And I loosely tied faithfulness to that story because, I mean, Bob has to faithfully go to the mailbox to get mail in the first place. So he doesn't grow weary in doing that because he doesn't know what might be coming his way. Ooh, that right there, there's value in it. So maybe we need to keep doing the next right thing. We need to stay faithful because we never know what's really coming our way. I think some good stuff is coming. We've been hanging around Jericho this morning, but I want to back up and put today's verse into context for a minute. Because if you already know how this story ends, it's really easy to read Joshua 6 knowing the wall is going to fall. But before we get there, can we acknowledge something? This is a different kind of battle plan. Jericho is shut up tight. Verse 1 says, "Now the gates of Jericho were tightly shut because the people were afraid of the Israelites. No one was allowed to go out or in." And then the Lord tells Joshua, "I've given you Jericho its king, and all its strong warriors. But listen to the instructions. The armed men are going to march around the city. 7 priests are going to carry ram's horn trumpets. The Ark of the Covenant is going with them. They're going around the city once. Then they're going back to camp. And they're going to do that for 6 days. Then on day 7, they'll march around it 7 times. This isn't Joshua sitting down with his military leaders and saying, okay guys, I've run the numbers. Here's the most efficient way to breach the wall. No, God gave the instructions. And that changes how we should understand today's verse. Joshua 6:14. On the 2nd day, they again marched around the town once and returned to the camp. They followed this pattern for 6 days. Why are they doing the same thing again? Not because repetition itself has some kind of spiritual power. Not because if you circle your problems long enough, well, they're going to disappear. No, they're doing it because this is what God specifically told them to do. And that right there, that's faithfulness. And I think there's an application here that's different from simply keep trying. Because sometimes persistence can actually be foolish. We can keep doing something God never told us to do and try to somehow think that that is faith. We can refuse wise counsel and try to call it perseverance. We can stay committed to our plan and become stubborn. Jericho doesn't teach never stop anything. It teaches us something about continuing in what God has actually made clear. And for us, that starts with His Word. There are things Jesus has already made clear for us. Things like forgive, love your enemies, pray, tell the truth, serve, be generous, seek first God's kingdom, love God, love your neighbor. Hey, let's stay faithful in those things because faithfulness isn't trusting that my method will eventually work. Faithfulness is trusting God enough to follow Him. That's a big distinction. And there's something else happening at Jericho too. The ark, the visible symbol of God's presence among Israel, is right in the middle of this procession. This story is about the Lord giving Jericho into their hands. They're participating obediently in something God is doing. So maybe today's question isn't simply, what do I need to keep doing? Maybe it's, what has God actually asked of me? Because there are things we probably need to stop, things we need to change, things we need to release. But when God's word has clearly shown us what faithfulness looks like, we don't need immediate results to make His way trustworthy. We can obey Him today and leave with God the things only God can do. That's, I think, how we apply this story to our lives. Are we being faithful? Thanks for hanging out with me right here on the Lifeline Morning Show. I love doing life with you. Now, some more great music. Mercy Me, all of creation, presence. That right there, that one topic. Oh, it's so important as a parent, isn't it? I mean, think about it. Being present, being there with your family, with your kids. I know. We get so busy, don't we? I get it. We got a lot of things to do. We do. We've got all kinds of responsibilities. We're trying to build something. We're trying to juggle everything. We're trying to keep everything in balance, but if we're honest, sometimes we kind of get things out of whack and we pay too much attention to one thing over the other, and before we know it, we've missed out on something. The problem is, lots of times you don't realize that until, well, it's too late. That's kind of where we find Brad. You see, Brad is a dad who has just realized something. He's looking back over his daughter's life and his fatherhood. He's got a little something to say about it. I think we could all learn a little something from this. So listen to this with your heart.
No one warns you that there's no signal when the last one happens. This hit me today. I just dropped my daughter off at college today. And on the drive home, I didn't think about a single business that I built. Not one. What I thought about were the normal, ordinary days. The ones that didn't feel like anything at the time. And when I say that you don't get a signal or any way of knowing when the last one happens, there was the last time that she asked me to come outside and push her on the swing. The last time that she crawled on my lap during a movie. A last bedtime story. And I didn't know it was the last one. I probably had my phone in my hand. I was building something. That's what I told myself. I was doing it for them. And it was true. But if I'm completely honest, it was not the whole truth. Because somewhere in there, I let being busy become the same thing as being a good father. I confused providing with being present. And those are not the same thing. One of them she's going to remember. Here's what I would tell the version of me who was buried in it. The business will still be there tomorrow. The email will still be there. The call can wait 20 minutes. That thing you're rushing toward is not going anywhere. But she is. They all are. Slowly, and then all at once. The whole point of working for yourself was supposed to be that you got your life back. Don't build a life you're too busy to actually live. Go be with your kids today. I'm going to go be with mine.
Let's talk a little bit about your word of life. Today from Joshua chapter 6, verse 14, in the New Living Translation of the Bible. On the second day, they again marched around the town once and returned to the camp. They followed this pattern for 6 days. Yep, they were told to do this over and over and over again. And they stayed faithful, didn't they? Because we know the story. On the seventh day, they marched around the town 7 times. They blew the horns. They shouted, and the walls came tumbling down. Yes, they did. They stayed faithful. They did their part. That's an amazing story, isn't it? And I wanted to talk with you about that because we're talking about faithfulness today. Yeah, faithfulness. That's keeping up the good work, even if you're not seeing the results as quickly as you would have liked. We unpacked it with our students earlier, and I love doing that with the kids, by the way. I hope you're using that. If they're not hearing it during the time, go check out our socials. I've been putting them up. They're little student shorts, okay? So make sure they catch those. I love doing them. And, there's something about just faithfulness, everyday faithfulness. Sometimes we feel like, well, is this making a difference? Yes, it is. If you are doing what you know God has called you to do, if you're staying faithful to the call he's placed on your life, if you're doing the next right thing, if you're living your life to please him, keep moving. Be encouraged today. You're making a difference. Keep him at the center of everything. Be willing to change if he has you do so, and follow his lead. Stay faithful to him. Okay? Sound good? All right. Now, there's something beautiful about faithful friends because they're the ones who stick around. They're the ones who don't get their feelings too easily hurt when you've had a bad day and you lash out. They stick around. They understand. You can be yourself around them. In fact, I found Katie. Katie has a little something to say about faithful friends. I think this is a great way to end the show. So I'll let her tell you what that's about. And I shall bid you adieu. Thank you so much for hanging out with me here on the Lifeline Morning Show. The podcast drops at noon. Please go subscribe, share it with a friend, and I'll see you back here tomorrow. Now, to close things out, this is Katie Finley on Faithful Friends.
Pay attention to the people who make you feel like you can finally exhale. You know those people, the ones that make you feel like you don't have to impress them, you don't have to explain yourself, you don't have to pretend that everything is perfect. You can just show up exhausted. You can show up messy. You can show up completely yourself. And somehow, you end up leaving lighter than when you arrived. Those people are gifts. As we get older, I think we start to realize how important it is to not necessarily have this huge group of friends, but having a small group of people who genuinely make life better. Pay attention to these people. Appreciate them. Tell them. Because sometimes the people who make the biggest difference in our lives aren't necessarily the loudest. They're simply the ones who make us feel safe enough to be our true selves.
And you, my friend, are awesome. Thank you so much for hanging out this whole time. You've reached the end of today's episode. Now, I think you should go to the description and check out what we've got waiting for you there. Remember the Spotify music playlist, the separate song list. We've got a Spotify poll for those of you on Spotify. We've got a daily question for those of you not on Spotify. Let's see, what else do we have? We have a family edition link, actually 2 of them, one to the episode, one to the playlist, so you can see the expanded version of the show. just in case you're listening to the Focused podcast that comes out at noon. And what else? Oh, the invitation to join me live sometime, 6 to 10, Monday through Friday, Central Time, 885jfm.com. If you would, subscribe, share us with a friend. I would greatly appreciate it. And hey, come back. Let's hang out again. Until next time, have a great day.